to go to Rio. As for Millenium, they have tons of LAN experience over the last little while. They're going to need to look for a win today. First ban going to Penta, and it will be Hibana.
Something we were just talking about, the ban rate of that. That is definitely going to be interesting on this particular map. Now, there's not like a lot of hatches you're going to be hitting, but it's more so opening up a lot of angles and things like that that you can do. So maybe we'll actually see some Maverick play in combination with Thermite. Would definitely be interesting, depending on the bomb site, of course. There goes Lion. Not a surprise at all. It always surprises me when I see it as the second ban, because teams are so wanting Lion out of there that they'll often ban it first, just to make sure it gets done. But I think it's such a reliable thing. It's worth, if you have first ban, taking advantage of banning, you know, something else and letting them take care of Lion.
Echo up next for Millenium, and I mean, if that 80% number stays, then this should be an easy ban here for Mira, but we've seen stranger things happen. Yeah. We talked many, many times about how Coastline is Mira's stomping ground. It's a map that excels with her available, but we'll have to wait out possibly 10 rounds to see if she will emerge for our second matchup of the day, as she will be off the board and banned for Millenium versus Penta.
I gotta imagine we're definitely gonna see a lot of Maestro now. Something that's going to somewhat help in replacing what they lose from the Mira and the Echo. We'll see if they start with it, but Kitchen is definitely a good place to start. Ace is going to be bringing out that Maverick, as I was talking about, which he may or may not sixth pick off of, but that is definitely going to help Thermite out if they need some extra breach ability here. He's not going to be obviously the main breach or anything like that, but there's that Capitao that we see really on the rise. Well, literally play by Rise in this case, but it is an operator that has been continually increasing, I think, in pick rate throughout the season, and it's been interesting to see. I mentioned before, he hasn't really seen any changes. There's unfortunately Aces switching off of that Maverick, but to an operator that's actually going to be a good counter for Revan's sixth pick as well. So it's always fun to see when those six picks are counter to each other, but they don't know it yet. Makes for some fun.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
We are definitely going to get that Maestro, though, which is definitely going to make sense here. We're going to see Panics stick one on the bomb itself to be able to see into delivery, as well as to the side, into the corner where he's kind of at right now. So that's a good spot for that, especially if the wall happens to get open as well. They will be able to hide behind the bomb and use the actual Evil Eye to be able to see outwards, even if Maestro's dead, assuming he leaves at the right angle.
Yeah, a Kitchen with a Maestro, that's going to be the best bet for the defense, usually most of the time. If you're new to Coastline, some things to be looking at here is it appears that Panics will think for the last second, and he's going to just change the position of his Evil Eye. And there you go. It's going to be on the door, so it's going to be sheltered just a little bit more, but it'll also be able to see that window more readily available.
Good placement for that. They are also opening up the wall, which does speak to me that they're going to be playing a bit of a roam game downstairs to be able to use that for retakes or attack from the courtyard area, which if teams are going to play a bit of a more of a downstairs roam or be able to rotate back later, that is something that is helpful to them, but it does mean the site defenders really got to be on top of their game.
Yeah, I mean, Millenium's going to be bringing tools to be able to try to take care of this. I don't know what enemy was doing, but so long as Aces just pauses and reflects on what he heard from the Ella there. Penta taking early gambles, going for a run out here. And
I mean, if you're going to do it, round one's the time to do it, because you might be able to make that up. You have plenty of rounds to do so.
Once again, that LMG that's being held by IQ. This is a gun that we haven't seen a ton of play, has been becoming more popular as of late. Renshiro using one Candela and great coordination, and another gun you don't see every day. Oh no! A bit of team damage done here to Hicks as he tries to sprint by, and that will stop Renshiro from being able to get the easy kill all the way deep into Kitchen onto the smoke of Hungry. You've also noted both Panics and Sir Boss are playing upstairs, so there's only one anchor remaining for Penta right now.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a problem for him if they can push adequately on Hungry, but he is a very good smoke, to be fair. It's going to be a problem for him. Obviously, they're going to need to start rotating people back here, but it is difficult to rotate back in the sense that they can cut you off, which is very easy to do on this map. You might just be walking into live fire.
And there's going to just be a coalition here of Millenium's members, and this coalition will be able to get the plant down, but the Evil Eye doing a great job of spotting everybody. Still trying to keep Sir Boss and Panics from being able to get to the site. Sir Boss on those cool vibe stairs. He'll rotate out, and he's going to be the last one left. Panics trying to get back to site. Diffuser goes down successfully for Millenium. A great entry overall. This is looking like a lockout. So far, a flawless round from Millenium, as we can see if the carbine of the Jaeger will be able to do much. Always a powerful gun, especially in the hands of Sir Boss. He's going to be completely blinded, stunned, droned out, and Liven peeks around the corner. That's a double kill for the captain of Millenium. And that's an easy first round. Not a lot of pressure from PENTA whatsoever after their early roam gets punished.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was unfortunate that enemy decided to throw his life away that early, but it was still recoverable from PENTA. Problem was they didn't read into the fact that they were losing the bottom floor so fast and rotating back that late when more map control had been given to the attackers. Definitely didn't work. I mean, it worked in their favor in a sense that they had the wall open like I was talking about, but it looked like Millenium pretty much just took advantage of that as well and fired through the soft wall, actually used it against him once they knew where he was at. So that was just unfortunate timing by the Maestro on PENTA.
There's been a dedicated move here from the developers to try and make LMGs more viable on attack. Now, Ying has probably one of the few LMGs that gets used all the time, and that's because she doesn't have access to a standard assault rifle. Her only other weapon that she could use is the shotgun that also comes equipped on Lesion if he wants to.
It's sort of like Dokkaebi with only the DMR and the shotgun.
Exactly. So, I mean, you have to choose at that point, and I think there's a good thought process here behind the developers, which is that you can balance an operator with a strong gadget around a weaker gun. I mean, Ying's gun is not weak by any stretch of the imagination. It does quite a bit of damage. It packs a punch, but it has a low rate of fire. And with the way that this game works, and the fact that a one bullet to the head is an insta-kill, usually rate of fire ends up reigning supreme.
That's why I was kind of glad to see the Bearing 9 take it down a few notches, because it was good guns and good gadget on Hibana.
I mean, the Bearing 9 is the same on Echo, too, right? Good gadgets and a strong amount of utility brought from the gadget, but also good killing potential. I mean, the Supernova is not a terrible shotgun, even though it doesn't get used all that often. Echo having one of the few ACOGs on defense. That MP5 used to be a headshot machine that he uses, the suppressed gun. But you see that Zophia's LMG has been coming out quite a bit more.
Same with IQs.
And IQs now, too. We saw a lot of IQ LMG yesterday, especially in that Team 1 matchup that we saw. We saw quite a bit of it. We saw quite a bit of it as well being run from Rogue. Rogue also running the Zofia LMG. So a lot of, I guess, these changes.
Developers are succeeding, I suppose, in making them more viable.
Yeah, and I mean, Aces here, by the way, just transitioning in on the IQ. That's typically Ryze's role, but they've got Ryze on the Capitao playing as much utility as he can. Ryze will be able to waltz right inside and almost a nice kill on the enemy. He stays static and the Ying of Renshiro goes prone, but Panix is there to have his teammates back, and that could have been PENTA going down by 2 early on. Now it'll be up to Aces to try to be able to simply outduel the Maestro. A great angle from Panix there, just trying to find the head of the German operator, but cannot land it. Aces will now rotate, peeling off.
I would not want to be in a one-on-one fight with Aces. That just seems like, no matter all the advantages you have as Maestro, they're mostly going to be thrown away, especially against someone like Aces on 3-speed. But the flank comes out anyways, and now he doesn't have to do anything.
A big double kill from Ryze as he's able to eliminate both enemy as well as Panix. And PENTA just not finding any success off-site so far through these 2 rounds. They are back downstairs on Kitchen, so Millenium have taken about 1 minute and 45 seconds in order to push everybody off. But with Revan and Hungry last alive, this is going to be very difficult for PENTA to hold on. They did pick up a kill earlier on Renshiro, which is good. Revan playing from below, and you've got Hungry also there, assuming that Millenium is going to come from the top. Ace is just inching around the corner with this open wall, trying to spot the Valkyrie, and Ryze will be there to break open the window, and this could be very dangerous for Revan. You also see that Liven, going by the name Super Liven, just walks all the way over to the delivery doorway. For just a second, the Valkyrie's head is spotted, and Aces will go for a very clean bullet pen kill. And now Hungry, trying to toss out Toxic Babes and contend with the rest of Millenium, but no, Ryze is there inside a kitchen, entering through that exact same window, just watching the smoke, playing inside a bathroom, and that's 2-0 for Millenium now.
Nearly 2 flawless rounds as well. So far, out of the 2 rounds, they've lost 1 player. That's it. And that was, it didn't seem to really make much of a dent. I gotta wonder if maybe they might want to consider reinforcing that entire outer wall. I mean, it seems to have been used against them twice now. In this case, it was just, you know, barely a head peeking up, but the way they're opening it is kind of a strange pattern to it, and it doesn't seem like it's really offering a lot of advantage. I mean, either open the whole thing up and use it, or don't, because it seems the way they're opening it is just not leading to any kind of significant plays. But Kitchen being the most defensible site, and the fact that they've pretty much been demolished on it so far is looking like we're probably going to see a pretty strong sweep from Millenium on their attack rounds. So it's definitely going to have a lot of pressure here on Penta on their attack rounds to make up for lost rounds, as they're already down 2. Although Hicks is going to be bringing out the Montaigne now. Hicks has also done a great job in terms of shield play with Fuse in the past, something that was very exciting to see on Border. I'm curious to see how well he'll do on Montaigne, but we know he's good on shield.
This is a pretty good site in order to roll into. I mean, either of the two downstairs sites can suit a Monty push quite well. I mean, it also works well with the Glaz, and really, in all honesty, any smoke-heavy push is going to work on these sites with narrow choke points, abilities for a shield operator to close off, the ability for the defenders to push back the attackers. And I'm looking specifically at the foyer here of Sunrise Bar. If you can establish your presence in the front door of the foyer, which is just being established right there, if you can establish your presence right in there and have the Monty just guard you off while somebody takes control of Hookah above, it's very difficult, barring an Echo or a Smoke, to stop the plant from going down. Now, Echo is banned, and you got Hungry playing on Smoke. So it's not all lost for Penta here, if that's the strategy that Millenium tends to roll out. But look to do exactly what Millenium did in that second round, which is be very aggressive on clearing out upstairs.
And that's what they're using Monty for right now.
You've got him down. He's actually
roam
pushing.
I mean, not upstairs, but I mean, they still are the roam clear.
Yeah, and I mean, he's pushing the other way here as he's inside an office with the Zofia. That soft wall is going to get opened wide up, or get opened wide from the Zofia of Liven. Sir Boss playing above. You once again have Penta playing a large amount of their defenders upstairs. It has not really been that successful. Millenium have done a great job of finding them and punishing them.
I think part of the problem with that too is they'll put one-speed operators like Maestro upstairs, and he can't rotate back quickly. Whereas Jaeger, sure, he's in a fine position to be able to do that, but they need to make sure to consider the speed of the operators when it comes down to who's playing up and who's playing down.
Sir Boss, though, can possibly capitalize on a push. Diffuser goes down, smokes go off, Candelas go in, enemy finds Renshiro, and Revan with the window onto the Aces, not able to grab that Diffuser. Sir Boss will see that smoke go off, and Hicks backwards going for the plant, but he will also have to fail or fall off. Everything failing for Millenium right now. Rise absorbing an awful lot of damage, and it is just a cacophony of sounds from these guns here. Revan is the only person on Penta who has been hurt during this war of words between the teams. Sir Boss still above, takes out Hicks, super live and playing the hallway. He'll manage to gun down Revan the Mute and won't get much from Rise as he peeks wide inside of Sunrise, and he will find enemy and lose that engagement. Liven in a 1v4 with Penta, being able to lock this one out as enemy jumps in and grabs yet another kill. The Maestro, as you noted, they were playing him upstairs in the first 2 rounds. They bring him closer to sight, and you see the raw killing potential that comes with that LMG. Penta will pick up their very first round.
They definitely played much better downstairs that time. Yeah, they had some people upstairs, but that wasn't necessarily a heavy focus. They were absolutely prepared to contest it because, I mean, if you look at what happened with Kitchen, you're going to read into the fact that Millenium doesn't care to roam clear. They're going to push in. I mean, they're going to roam clear around the site, but they're not going to take the whole map. They don't feel like they need to. They have enough strength and gunpowder to just push in on the site, especially if you're in a situation like that round where Hungry was alone down on Kitchen. And thankfully, Penta didn't make that same mistake again. But now they're going to go upstairs to Hookah, the room just above the bar. We'll see if they can defend upstairs a little bit better than downstairs, but at least they've picked up 1 round. And we've talked about it before. This is such an attacker-sided map that any defensive rounds you can pick up will hugely benefit you coming into the side switch.
And I mean, it's the bars that you won too. I'm very surprised that we didn't see Penta being able to put up a bigger fight on Kitchen. But I think part of that was just how they defended it, as you said.
They can absolutely go back to Kitchen and win it if they make the right adaptations, and they very likely will for the 5th round.
Well, I mean, both times we saw there what happened. The first round, the Ella ran out and tried to get an early kill, died immediately, and then their second body that was upstairs died shortly thereafter. Not great. Second round, what happened? You kept Hungry on site all alone with Revan playing on Cool Vibe stairs, and then you had the other 3 members of your defense playing upstairs over top of the site with very minimal coverage. And then you just got picked apart by Millenium once again, droning you out, finding you, and just simply winning their fights. It's very difficult when you've got that happening in order to be able to battle back. I think they relied way too much on having those Evil Eyes on site as a means of maybe being a defender on its own, a 6th man on site, but it didn't work. It just didn't work out.
And that's not because Hungry was doing a bad job. He was just outmanned. He wasn't going to do a whole lot to defend. mean, you can only defend against so many people simultaneously because you've got a low ammo count magazine in the SMG. The shotgun's only going to work at somewhat close range. So if you get surrounded, it's pretty easy to pitch and kill a smoke who can at most close off one entrance with the smoke canisters, and it's often going to be exposed while throwing it.
I mean, tell that to Cloud9 when playing up against Slash's smoke, because
yeah, Slash is
there's a bit of difficulty.
But he plays with that shotgun in smart positioning.
Yeah. All right, so Millenium has almost full control of that second floor, barring the 2 sites. That's a good start, but I mean, you don't really have as much map control as you need, and on top of that, Penta still has bodies downstairs. So Millenium, instead of bothering to clear out the roamers on the inverse, on the opposite floor, they're just going to go straight to the site and get very, very close. Renshiro just silently crouch walking his way in through luggage, very close to Aqua. As a Ying, you can deal an awful lot of damage towards that pool table site. But first interaction is live and downstairs, seeing panics. That Jaeger carbine, very, very strong, but it meets the LMG of Zofia, and it will lose its battle. Also, potential time for Liven to get reset here if need be.
Something tells me they won't bother.
I don't know if Rise was trying to take out the Evil Eye there or not, but that wall will be his aid and his ally as a C4 goes off and Rise does not die, a little surprisingly. Still time to reset both members of Millenium. Penta technically losing out in the man count because they lost Panics, but push coming out for Millenium.
Well, they're definitely getting set up. They've used 1 Candela to help clear Aqua, so they have 2 left for the site. But they're going to have to make sure to hit those in the right spot because both defenders are somewhat spread out from each other in terms of whether or not you can hit them. But they are so low on health by so many of the operators. I mean, Rise pushing with that low health is a good chance he drops that diffuser and dies, especially with an Evil Eye. Potentially even enough damage from the Evil Eye could finish him off. They have Zofia that could take that out, so hopefully they think it happens. Zofia's far away from the attack.
Ace is just simply out-fragging Revan downstairs. 2 goo mines hit, and there's enemy jumping in to get the final kill that is needed on those goo mines. Hungry also eliminating Rise means it's a 3v3. Live and very low on HP. Diffuser will need to be retrieved and set down. Hicks trying to get back towards the site, but Sir Boss deeply ensconced inside a pink with enemy and Hungry there to do the rest of the work. Penta, a great display in the final 10 seconds, locking the round out for their team, and it's 2-2. Final defense for Penta.
This is where we'll probably go back to kitchen, and hopefully they'll make the adjustments they need, but it definitely seems like Penta have really adapted now to what Millenium are doing. Millenium are very, very site-focused. Knowing that, Penta are able to adjust accordingly, and that is the big problem here with Millenium is now Millenium are the ones that need to make the adjustments. So good on Penta that it only took them 2 rounds to learn their lesson, and I'd say they've been doing significantly better, especially that last round where they lost very few people and managed to destroy a lot of the attackers. So this is where Millenium probably are not going to be able to get away with the same stuff unless for whatever reason Penta decides to just leave Hungry alone downstairs again. They could do that as a potential bait though if they're ready to jump back earlier and maybe spring a little bit of an ambush with that. It's possible. Obviously, like you said, leaving the Evil Eye as a 6th man down there, definitely not the strategy to go with.
Part of what made Millenium so formidable in those first 2 rounds were the fact that there was next to no site presence. The way that Penta was anchoring was really weak. And you were basically half-assing both things. Yeah. Your anchor play wasn't strong enough and your roam play wasn't strong enough. You had your roamers a little bit disconnected. You had 2 bodies playing upstairs inside a penthouse and theater that couldn't engage when Millenium committed their entire force to taking you out. You also had a 3rd member who was usually on a deep disconnected roam. That was usually the Ella that was getting played of enemy. And enemy was able to just continue to run around, but didn't really see all that much success. In fact, almost got picked out a number of times early on. We saw Renshiro take that engagement in the 2nd round and almost walked away with a kill. So now that Penta has realized, hey, Millenium's doing a pretty good job of being able to get inside of the building, find us, and take us down. If we play a little bit more conservative, if we play more of a turtle-style defense with more commitment to the site, it typically does quite well for us. I think you're right about here on Kitchen. They have a good opportunity. This is going to be their 3rd defensive site that they have yet to win. But it also looks like Penta is going back to the same strategies before. They've got a lot of bodies upstairs. And
this seems like an odd choice here. I mean, they are going to have at least enemy not suiciding out this time. He will be trying to guard Sunrise as long as possible. And this is going to be their entry point yet again. But enemy can't even hit the drone here. And and that's not going to bode well for two attackers coming in with Candelas and smoke. But enemy completely jukes it.
Great job to evade that Candela. Rise is there to be able to double up on enemy, though, and essentially trade it out. Rise a second shot all the way down as the smoke of Hungary tries to take the fight. Prone by the doorway is Revan, though. The Legion just sitting and waiting, ideally hoping for somebody to emerge from Sunrise and find his next target. We caught in the crossfire of that Legion, likely waiting to hear the goo mine get triggered and then just jump right up. And boy, is Rise ever close. Hicks is there as well. There he pops up. Oh, excellent job. And he's going for another. Can Revan complete it? No, Rise and Liven will be able to outduel Penta, and Panics cannot get back to sight as Ace is watching the main door for the cross from above. Great rotate from Aces. And that is an incredible shot. Millenium will take every single kitchen attack, but still Penta emerging with 2-round victories from defense. Not bad, keeping it as close as they can get without an outright victory.
I'd say the big problem with that for Penta was they spent way too much time contesting Sunrise without getting a lot of victories over it. I mean, the play by the Legion was smart, and that was the one thing that somewhat worked. They stopped the Thermite from doing his job. Not the most critical jobs. I mean, that's still a good wall to open, but it's not, you know, pivotal to the attack. But it was just contesting after contesting. Hungry as well, peeking that from Kitchen was a big mistake. He needs to be playing a lot more passive, defending that site. And it just seemed like they didn't learn a whole lot from before, and were just trying to overplay their hand into Sunrise. I mean, credit to enemy for getting the 1 kill. And the Legion, the 1 kill as well, that should have been where it ended. You lose 2 people, that's okay. But all the other people trying to fight it as well, that was the big mistake, especially Hungry peeking it. That was, I think, probably the worst mistake of that round. Either way, though, sides are going to switch now. We'll see how Penta does on attack. We are going to see the first Doc here. We don't see a ton of Doc, but definitely when people are good with that ACOG on those long-range shots, they're going to take advantage of that by playing Doc or Rook. I feel like Doc has definitely taken Rook's place. I feel like we used to see a lot more Rook for those ACOG plays, but now Doc has really kind of just become the meta for that. He's definitely going to have at least some useful utility with the barbed wire. Something that has gone a little bit back up in strength, so there's that as a factor as well.
I'm not certain why Hungry peaked in that round previously. I mean, the SMG-11 is not the gun that can take fights reliably at long range, especially with how its recoil kicks now. You can tap burst it; it's doable. But I'm not exactly certain why that was the play for Hungry. It definitely tossed away quite a lot of utility, especially of plant denial from the smoke.
Yeah. It opened up the site, but they didn't even have to get into the site. They got all their fights in Sunrise.
Yeah, there was very minimal actual site engagement that we saw come out from Millenium there. Now we'll take a look at what's going on with Penta. They're running a very similar lineup in the sense that they have the Zofia, they have the Thermite, as well as the Capitao. Thermite will likely be played in every single round, simply due to the fact that Hibana is banned. Unsurprising. I mean, it's either that or you run a Maverick. But I mean, Maverick doesn't have that same focus, so to speak. I'm not exactly sure here what what happened with Panics, as he takes a lot of damage. He's just going to saunter his way in through luggage, confront the barbed wire. He's got Jackal right behind him as well. Hicks with that final Evil Eye, keeping that Evil Eye possibly to move it over in case they see that the push is going to come over from the theater side of things. Penthouse, for the time being, largely ignored.
Yeah, they're definitely looking like a theater push here. You've got the Thermite on the wall. You've got Serboss able to track anyone kind of around it by those footprints, thanks to the extended range. Although it might be a little risky to peek into that hallway, he definitely could pick up some, potentially, if he does it at the right time. And that's going to lock them down just a little bit for this attack.
Oh, the back of Rise is seen for just a second as Serboss on the main stairs. It's going to continue to take damage from that goo mine. A successful exothermic charge will blow up the wall of theater, and you'll hear, there's why you got the Doc in play. Renshiro is going to try and give Rise a little bit more HP to bring him back. And he's still got 1 stim pistol left. Rise sitting at about half HP here. Millenium, realizing that it's going to be a push from over in luggage side, they have next to no control. Diffuser is still down, and the execute comes out. Revan from below, using the smoke grenades. And a frag grenade will toss in, likely getting that Evil Eye in the corner that was set down by Hicks not too long ago. Liven and Rise both downstairs, just crouching ever so slightly. If there's a dedicated flank watch, this could be difficult, and it does look like there are two, in fact. You've got Revan watching the main stairs, and it appeared that Panics as well playing on white stairs, just patiently waiting. They'll be exposed at any second. Rise, I think, knows there's somebody up there. They'll try to draw the attention of the Capitao, toss out an impact grenade, but it's just going to be a slugfest. Hicks will pick up kill number 1 of this round. It will come with only 10 seconds left. A double from Hicks. Rise will get punished, trying to get back to site. Liven in tough straits. He'll manage to take out Revan, waiting to see if he can get back up. Sirboss planting. Hungry doing great covering work. And Hungry will try to get away. Sees a push from behind. He's got the flank. Can he get the second? Oh, he'll get downed. It's Aces versus Sirboss. Aces doesn't know. Sirboss trying to play around this open hole in the back of Theater. Pulls out the Deagle, and Aces cannot land the shot. Sirboss out-dueling Aces. The two newest members of these teams putting in the work they need, and we are all tied up.
Definitely a bit back and forth that round. It seemed like, you know, there was a start of a good attack onto Theater, but it really started to get drawn out, trying to actually take control of Theater. Some of that was due to the fact that they were playing a lot of people on flank watch and watching other areas while the other men were trying to take the site. And a good fight by Millenium, delaying it as long as possible. They had a good attempted flank there and almost managed to pull it off. But some good heads-up play and expecting that flank, because you had so many people trying to play lobby earlier. It was pretty obvious that if you lost control of lobby, you were going to be fighting those stairs. So they were definitely ready for that, but it did come down to the wire at the end. So great play by Penta, and Millenium just unfortunately could not win enough of their gunfights to make that count. It was surprising to see Aces actually lose his, but he just did not have a good information on that positioning. Had that Evil Eye stayed alive, that definitely would have helped there for sure. But either way, good round by Penta, tying it up now on what is now the hardest bomb site for a lot of teams without Mira, Penthouse. So now they are free to go to another bomb site, and surprisingly, instead of Kitchen or Bar, they're going to go to Hookah, which, I mean, to be fair, Hookah was won by the defense the one time it was played earlier in the first half. I don't think it's the greatest bomb site, but teams seem to know how to defend it to an extent. So we'll see if they can manage to do the same here.
5 seconds left.
They are doing a good job at least of keeping their smoke alive a little bit longer than
Hungry?
Yeah.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
I mean, Hungry did stay alive into the dying minutes or dying moments of a number of rounds there. He just got aggressive the one time, to be fair.
No, I mean, but yeah, and the other time he got kind of jumped on by a large number of players. That wasn't his fault.
Yeah, I mean, he got gang beat.
Yeah, that happens. He got jumped.
There was the whole Millennium gang. And,
got jumped into Millennium.
Yeah, he was trying to get back to city. He got jumped. We're keeping up with the gang references here.
There we go.
The street justice.
That's right.
Onto Hungry here is because if there's a single site that really speaks about street, it's definitely Coastline, this beautiful island resort.
Hookah definitely is a street kind of place.
Oh my.
All right, well, we do have, again, pretty similar lineups like we were talking about before from both teams, really. They seem to be pretty comfortable with most of these operators, and we're seeing that more often is pretty consistent attacker lineups, other than changing 1 or 2 operators as rounds go on.
There's lots of utility that gets provided by these 5 operators, you know, and they kept Revan downstairs. They used Panics up top to assist with the push. They kept Hungry on flank watch. They had Sirboss there to help with the execute for enemy. That's how I'd imagine that we're going to likely see these teams continue onward. But they've kept Revan upstairs now, and you're going to put the Buck down below with the Skeleton Key to try and just rip up that floor. Smart Claymore from Revan will cut off a rotate from Millennium inside a luggage. So there you have it. An early smoke will get tossed out, but Rise, great kill with the FMG. So long enemy. Singular hard breacher, unable to get an exothermic charge off. Rise still trying to play that pixel angle through the chassis of the bomb, but is unable to deny the diffuser being planted up. Rise managing to throw another Toxic Babe, and I think for just a second there he might have seen the head of one of his enemies, but he's already used 2 Toxic Babes and there's still a minute to go. Amidst the smoke, where Sirboss and Revan, they just take minimal damage, so not all is lost there, but it does look like Penta's going to juggle this diffuser and maybe move some of the pawns around in the chessboard.
They are starting to run a bit out of time and utility because they've used so much utility to get to this point. Liven, though, with a great flank. Fortunately, takes a few shots to get the job done, but there goes Panics. A huge man advantage down to Millennium.
Excellent marks coming down here. Rise is there to greet them. Now keep in mind, there's no shotgun, but Rise a double kill. He's picked up 3 on the round. Liven it downstairs, done his job quite well. Rise, the savior, being able to stop the plant coverage, and then the plant too. And then Renshiro just waiting on the final member of Penta Sports to try and get back inside the building. Won't get there. Millenium 4-3.
Contrasted with the way that Millenium were attacking, Penta seemed to be this sort of bulldozer push. They get up to the site, and then they just start slowly pushing at Millenium as much as they can. And I think that opens itself up to flanks a lot, which we did see that round as well. And that's the one thing that I'm not sure is the best part of the strategy is they do have a lot of people on flank watch, which is good. But when they start getting distracted by the fights and they start losing some people in the gunfight, they start losing control of those flanks, and the roamers start creeping up because Millenium has good map control at that point because both these teams seem to be pushing straight for site. There doesn't seem to be a dedicated roam clear happening for any of the rounds we've seen so far. And I think depending on how the roams are played, that's really benefited one member or another. Interesting, we're actually see Renshiro on the Rook after what I was just saying about Doc.
No, what's the difference? Why don't you bring a Rook over a Doc? Basic things here. Number one, their loadout is going to be almost identical except for the fact that Doc doesn't have impacts. Rook does.
Yeah, and the barbed wire traded out for that.
I mean, Doc can bring barbed wire or a bulletproof camp, and Rook can bring impact grenades or deployable shield. So if you need to open up the site and do some site remodeling, the impact grenades go a long way. It can also help with impact tricking. If you look on Millenium's side of things, well, there's 2 impact grenades that can be held by the Legion. But this isn't really a site that we see a lot of impact tricking on, so that is more of a secondary concern for any defensive team.
It's a small thing, but you also help out the roamers to an extent, because Doc's obviously not going to have a good chance to heal the roamers unless they make it all the way back to site, because Doc's generally in site. Not that there isn't roaming Docs, but a roaming Doc is also not going to usually encounter another player to heal, whereas the Rook's going to give that armor ahead of time, assuming they all grab it and go on their roam. It does give them the potential to live a little bit longer, be a little bit more of a thorn in the side of the attackers. Usually not a big consideration at this level of play where headshots are king, but we have seen a lot of body shots happening, so definitely could be a small factor that helps.
Yeah,
a bomb has been located.
I'm interested to see the way that Penta has made this change. They've taken Revan off of the Cabotao and put him on Ash. I think their biggest issue right now is they've discovered that fragging potential isn't where it needs to be, and they're chalked to the gill with utility so much that they are a little hesitant to use one of those operators as their entry. Now, part of having an operator like Ash is that, number one, she's fast, she's got a great gun, she's difficult to hit, she's going to be able to provide a lot of firepower. But also, if she dies, well, I mean, it's not the end of the world. You don't lose with it a key component of the gadgetry that you're going to have to go out about and get your plant down.
Yeah.
So if you do lose Ash, not the end of the world. You also have somebody who can play a little bit more recklessly. It does look, by the way, that Panix has now dropped and is right next to the site. This is interesting for Millenium. Millenium definitely set up for a retake strategy right here, as both Revan and Panix are knocking on the door of the B site.
They're definitely getting set up for this here. Now, there is the huge wall of VIP open as well into the room, which will actually help them stop anyone from trying to defuse that, but it also is open for a retake strategy from Millenium. So they are prepared to retake, but they are also pretty stacked up in theater. This is where Ying would help quite a bit with getting it through those doorways to blind them all, but they did not bring one this time. They still have a few flashbangs, though, on Revan they can use to their benefit.
Now, we said that I said that this was possibly moving in for a retake strategy here, but it looks like Penta is really struggling in the mid-round to the late round, going from VIP, going from Record Hall or Hall of Fame into the site. There's a lot of pausing that's going on right here. And they're waiting for a cue. What is it going to be? First smoke is going to go, and Rise is just going to wander around. He's going to get some marks and misses his shots, but a double kill from Revan happens off screen, puts us at a 3v5. Penta blowing things wide open. But most of Millenium will now circle in. Rise trying to go, but there's too many around him. Tasing away at the defuse planter, and Hicks will get it. That's defused down. Hicks will need to be the one to try and stop it, but he realizes he's going to fall off of his Evil Eye camp. Bad timing, though, as he's going to be distracted here, trying to outduel one member. It's going to be the Ash. This is going to be very difficult for him. Sees the head of Revan for just a second, but a third kill will go on the board for the Ash. And that fragging potential that Penta needed paying dividends. They get it. 3 kills from the Ash. Those are a huge part of why PENTA walks away. Millenium just sitting a bit too far back. Once again, all tied up.
Well played by Revan. Like you said, the 3K that round, the disposable operator actually disposing of 3 of the defenders instead. Nicely played and definitely helping put them at this nice tied scoreline here. But there is definitely a chance we see a tie here the way things are playing out. We're seeing a lot of back and forth, at least now that the sides have switched. We saw more 2 rounds in a row on the other side. We saw, to start out with 2 attack rounds, then 2 defense rounds, then 2 attack rounds. But now it's a bit more defense than attack. Renshiro actually 6 picking over the Clash. This should be interesting to see. He is a good shield player. So playing a lot of Blackbeard, for example. Quite good at that.
I mean, the Montaigne that was rolled out by Hicks early on wasn't really as, I think, influential as they'd anticipated it being. Clash is a very strong operator when used correctly, but you have to know how to build your composition around her, because we've seen a couple teams that have used her and just haven't gotten much out of her if they use her a little bit too liberally. This was something that G2 tried. They put Jonas on Clash, and well, Jonas ended up being one of the first deaths in the entire round.
Did not work out.
Not the way I think they wanted it. I mean, Fabian did explain in the interview the way that they were anticipating using Jonas, but sometimes it just doesn't come to fruition. And that was part of the problem with G2 strat. So just because you have a Clash on the board doesn't mean that you're going to win the round. It's going to give you a definite edge, and one of these teams will be guaranteed at least a minimum of 1 point here at the conclusion of this round. Could the Clash be a factor in that? Will PENTA Sports, with Revan playing that Ash yet again, paying dividends for them in the previous round, will that be a factor for them?
With the Clash on the board, this is definitely the round where you wish Revan was playing on that Capital instead, because that is, I would say, the #1 most effective counter to Clash at the moment, assuming you play it well, but it's definitely not going to be a factor here. So if that Clash could maybe slow down Revan a little bit and give time for flanks to come around, that might actually be a good counter from Renshiro, as, again, PENTA's running the same lineup pretty much as last time, although, to be fair, Revan did a fantastic job. So I guess they see no reason why they feel like they have to change it. Now attacking on Kitchen here, this is the first time, if I made my notes correctly here, that Millenium are defending on Kitchen here. So they are doing 3 of the bomb sites. They have yet to do Bar, though, which chances are we won't see, but they definitely could go back to Penthouse if they wanted to, but they failed twice now, so I can't imagine they're going to want to.
I mean, we're definitely going to need all these rounds, because no matter what, we're going to go towards that towards that 10th round. So whether we see the bars or not is something that we'll see next. But keep in mind that Hookah is unlocked as of next round, so they can go back to Hookah if they wanted to, which is so far the only defensive site that we've seen a victory from Millenium on. Once again, showing that Coastline usually going very strongly in favor of the attackers. Speaking of, upstairs trying to clear out above the site of Kitchen. That's a site with Revan up top, using those breaching rounds just to try and give a sight line for him and the rest of his team. Flank watch being held from the Jackal of Sir Boss. It's an interesting flank watch to have. I mean, the C70 is a great gun, but if that flank watch doesn't work out, you lose your only set of smokes from the attack.
Now, this is actually a lot more of a roam clear map control than we've really seen from either of the 2 teams so far. So maybe this will work out in PENTA's favor, the fact that they're taking all this map control and actually able to fight from above onto the site. But that being said, they are also stacking up a lot of people here with only 55 seconds left and not anyone really pressuring site just yet. So it's going to take them time to actually get set up for this push. In the meantime, Renshiro's actually going to push up on enemy here on these stairs, start to delay him a bit. Although, oddly enough, he's not the diffuse carrier. That's the Zofia.
Panic's just narrowly missing a rotating, cannot catch his prey, but he sees Rise from above. Rise, who's leading the team with kills, will get a big frag to start things off. 30 seconds left and only 1 casualty so far. Bodies will begin to pile up as Revan finds his 4th kill on Ash in the last 2 rounds. There's Renshiro gone. Hicks in an act of desperation, trying to go through the wall, but cannot do it. He's going to peel off, but Millenium just tallying once more and once again. Hungry trying to stave off defeat, but cannot get it. He'll get downed, and that's an easy finish off for Hicks. Millenium will be guaranteed at least 1 point as they swiftly add 3 people to the pile. And that'll be Millenium taking round number 9.
Well, so far both teams have won 2 defensive rounds, so if Millenium can break the mold, of course they go home with the win rather than the 1 point, but if it goes back like the first half, then we will go back to the old tie. In this case, though, like you said, they're going to want to go Hookah, which is the site they have successfully defended, so there is a strong chance that they can defend it successfully, and there they are going to Hookah. But it is a chance for Penta to adapt to what didn't work the first time. Make some changes if they can. Maybe there's a chance they'll take it, but they are going to stick with the same lineup unless they 6-pick as they did last time. I wouldn't say Renshiro's clash was hugely influential that round, but it certainly didn't hurt. So we'll see if they go to 6-pick to that again, but most likely not.
The last time that they went to hookah, and I mean prior to the kitchen defense we just saw, it was their only successful defense. The biggest reason why Millenium won that was almost single-handedly Rise playing inside of pink, pushing up to the bomb in billiards, using his smokes and his FMG to try and just battle back as the hordes of Penta tried to get into the site. He picked up 3 kills on that round, if I recall.
It was very aggressive of a push, though, and I think they were not expecting that level of aggression from the smoke, and it definitely paid off. I like his even throwing a smoke through the drone hole. Try and catch the cap attack was a nice play as well.
And he did. I mean, it did very minimal damage.
But it still pushed him around.
It definitely did, and it moved the Capitao as well as the Jackal off of that bar inside of Aqua towards the door and just continuously killed time. Now, if you recall, Rise used 2 of those smokes within the first minute and 30 seconds, which timing-wise isn't very ideal for plant denial. But with the way that Rise was playing there inside of pink, he doesn't really have a tight enough angle to be able to use that smoke on the doorway. And especially in default plant spot, which is just situated behind the bomb, it's not easy for him to be able to use that smoke in the dying seconds of a round. So maybe not the worst that he used the smokes.
It was really delay so your teammates can come help out kind of situation.
Yes.
And it worked. I mean, but again, that was due to a lot of aggression and good gunplay from him on the underutilized FMG. We'll see, though, if this attacker lineup can work once again. We're not seeing a ton of kills coming out from the Jackal tracking, but it does seem to help a little bit in helping control the map in terms of making sure people aren't going to sneak up on you while you take that map control, which Penta are actually working on now. But this time, they're probably going to go again for a similar attack on here. They're going to push into Aqua and try and take it from there. They're not really trying to go for the map control, which is seemingly only the last round or two that they've actually tried that. So this is, again, going to be on people like Rise to slow down this push enough for flanks to happen.
Revan has been a pretty central component of this push so far. Lots of killing potential. Picked up 4 kills, as I noted in the previous 2 rounds. Not a bad tally. 3 of them, mind you, in the round before that. So a bit of a quieter play on round number 9. And I mean, that's to be expected. Penta did get shut out. One evil eye of Revan, or one evil eye will look staring right into Revan's eyes, and Revan will use one of those breaching rounds to blow it wide open, and has now used both of his breaching rounds as well. He is tantalizingly close to the site, but there's nobody really there to be able to aid him for the time being.
Unfortunately, the diffuser is quite far across the map there.
Trying to bait out the ADS here is Sir Boss still holding both of those smokes. You've also got Panics from below, and he can toss up those frag grenades through the floor, which will be aided by the Skeleton Key. But Panics right now just doing drone work, likely trying to give Revan some more intel. You've also got Sir Boss on drone 2. That's one smoke that's going to be squandered. But Renshiro, who was pivotal last time around playing inside of hookah, he'll be punished by Hungry, and that's the first kill. It's going to come with a minute left in the final round.
Enemy does get down with the diffuser, but is able to be picked back up, so they're still in a good position here with the man advantage, and only 50% damage to enemy is really the only downside here, but they are running out of time. Most of the smokes, if not all of the smoke canisters, have been used. Yep, all of them have been used now. So the delay no more in terms of delaying with the smoke. It's going to come down to gunplay at this point and a lot of fights.
And Rise just going to have to simply frag out. Looking at these 2 double doors, he's got the tip of the FMG here. He's going to try for 2. He's going to miss his shots. Liven from below takes out Panics. The Buck will not be able to enter. SMG-11 gets pulled out, wielded by Rise, as he's going to be the main focal point for the opponents. He's going to have the Ash right next to him. Doesn't look to his right. Revan's going for 2, and he'll get them. We are barreling down towards a draw. It's all up to Liven, but Revan will be there to get the final kill. That Ash, so important. And Millenium will leave 2 points on the table, unable to close this out. Penta battling back, and both teams will settle for 1.
It definitely felt like they were pretty evenly matched. I mean, the first 2 rounds looked so Millenium favored that it was surprising to see how swiftly Penta adjusted and came back on that. So nicely done. They both adapted to each other quite a bit. They were both a little bit static in the sense that they both kind of went for the same push the site.